Hey guys, welcome back. James here, and today I'm bringing you guys another podcast with the Jets and the Mets. Let's get right into it. Let's get into this Jets-Giants game. The Jets won a game. The two inept teams of New York faced off this past Sunday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the Jets ended up winning the toilet bowl between the two teams. Adam Gase saved his job with this one. As you guys know, the planes flying across New York City on Friday afternoon that had a banner across it saying, "Fire Adam Gase now!" Exclamation points. The Jets fans not been happy with Adam Gase and his performance and the Jets' overall, 2-7 debacle, terrible, awful season. So they decided to have a fundraiser. Jets fans set up a fundraiser and managed to fly a plane across around New York City. Decided to fire Adam Gase to get the attention of the owner that we really, as fans, want this guy out of here. And as I was saying on the podcast last week, the quarterback's regressing, and if he continues to regress, the Gase has to go. So, Gase saved his job for the year with this one. Even though he lost to Miami, if he lost to the Giants game yesterday, to the Giants, I really think that Christopher Johnson could have brought the axe down on him this morning and fired him. But good for him. Saved his job, at least for, I think for the rest of the 6 games, Gase should be safe. At least see what he can do against these teams that are coming up on the schedule that are not particularly strong teams. We've got the Redskins next week, then the Raiders, they're pretty good. Then we've got the Dolphins, Bengals, Ravens, Steelers, and Bills, something like that. I feel like I added another team in there. But, the schedule is softening up, but I feel like all these teams, they do look at the Jets the same way that me as a Jet fan might go and look, or the Jets players might go and look at, say, the 1-8 Washington Redskins. They might say, we're playing the Jets. We've got a shot here. And you know what? I don't blame him because the Jets been god-awful this year, so terrible. Jamal Adams played absolutely sensational yesterday. 2 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, fumble recovery, touchdown, and led the team with 9 tackles. The Jets defense got to Daniel Jones yesterday. I think we got like 6 sacks on the day, just getting into the backfield, the entire game. Just really, really great to see. Bless Austin's debut at cornerback after coming. He was like a 6th-round pick of the Jets this past year. He had a lot of injuries. So his first game since college, coming back, and he played all right. He had a dropped interception. He should have caught it, but it was his first NFL game. So let it slide, and, looking forward to see him progress as the season goes on. One problem I have with this entire game is within 40 seconds. First of all, Dowell Loggins, the offensive coordinator, who I thought they had up in the press box, I didn't even know he was on the field. This guy's on the field, and he's talking to the refs. He's ready to throw these challenge flags. He loses 2 challenges in the span of 40 seconds of game time, and I'm watching the game, and I'm like, shouldn't Adam Gase have the challenge flags and be throwing them on the field? I feel like that hasn't been talked about enough after this game about the Dowell Loggins. I don't know why he has the challenge flags in that situation. I think Adam Gase should be the one throwing out the flags for challenges, and he lost both of the challenges. It's not like he threw both the challenges and won. Not even one of them. He just threw both of the challenge flags and lost the Jets 2 timeouts. Good thing we didn't need them. So where the Giants really messed up with this game, I feel like Pat Shurmur, Daniel Jones, he played well in this game, aside from the Jamal Adams strip sack fumble recovery for a touchdown. He just took Daniel Jones' lunch money, took the ball right out of his hands, and it went right into the end zone. Other than that, Daniel Jones, he threw 4 touchdowns, and he played pretty well in the game. He had like 125 quarterback rating. I feel like where Pat Shurmur messed up the most in this game was like there's like 4 minutes left, and the Jets had the ball, and Pat Shurmur's he's using all of his timeouts to get the Jets off the field and get the ball back. So, the Jets, he gets the Jets off the field. Okay, wastes 3 timeouts, and the Giants get the ball back. Now the Giants, they go 3 and out, and they punt the ball. Now, if you waste all your timeouts with 4 minutes left, you can't, and you get the ball back. I don't care if it's 4th and long. You have a better chance of getting a pass interference or a delay of game or some sort of penalty or making the 4th down completion, and you have a chance of punting the ball back to the Jets, having them go 3 and out, give you the ball back with like at most 30 seconds to just go down the field and score touchdowns. So that's really, I feel like Pat Shurmur screwed the game up for the Giants, is that he wasted those timeouts, and he should have, instead of using those timeouts, should have waited and tried to use them for later in the game when they could have used them to stop the clock, to go down the field and score a touchdown to win the game or to get the game tied towards the end. So, yeah, big win for the Jets. Big win for Adam Gase. He needed this one. Darnold, I feel like he played okay in this game. No interceptions. His team came out on top of the W, so that's always positive. That's the goal. I think he's got to slow down a little bit after the game with saying, we're going to go on a run here and make the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
If we win out, I feel like it's a little bit resemblance of the last about 40 days of the Mets season this past year. We got to win every game. Sam, my advice would be let's put 2 wins in a row first before we start talking about winning out and making a run at the playoffs. If the Jets can play how I expected them to play coming into the season, these teams that they have coming up, they have a decent chance of winning against them. With teams like the Redskins, I know we got to play the Redskins next week, and then we got to go play the Raiders, the Bengals, and we got the Dolphins, Ravens, Steelers, and Bills. So, the Redskins, they're 1-8. They probably look at the Jets as this is a game. Hey, this is a game we can win here. And the Jets, they're awful, and they have been pretty awful. But if the Jets want to make a run here, you got to beat teams like the Redskins, put up a fight against the Raiders. But, if the Jets go out next week and they go and they lay an egg against the Redskins like they did against the Dolphins in the Dolphins game, that game was way more of a blowout than the 8 points. The final score of the 8 points differential tells you. The Jets really did not perform well in that game against the Dolphins. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they went on here and laid an egg against the Redskins, because that would be a typical Jets. But yeah, hopefully we can put 2 in a row. That would be nice. Got a win against the dreadful Redskins, and maybe put a little bit of life back in the season going up against the Raiders next week, if we can beat after the Redskins week, if we could beat the Raiders, and we got the Bengals, Dolphins, Ravens, Steelers, Bills. Still not looking good, but slim chance. Darnold, just go out, beat the Redskins at least. Just put 2 in a row together. If you put 2 in a row together, then you got to go out and beat the Raiders. If they win the Redskins, they beat the Redskins. Do not go out against the Raiders and lay an egg like they did. They got all the Jets fans excited about the Patriots game because they went out and beat the Cowboys. And if the Cowboys went out and beat the Jets that game, nobody would have been looking forward to the Patriots game. Most of the Jets fans were going to that Patriots game as if it was like a big playoff game, and the Jets, they got completely embarrassed. It was a 4-interception nightmare for Sam Darnold and the Jets that night. So hopefully they don't go and beat the Redskins and then get demolished by the Raiders or anything of that sort. So on to the Mets. The awards for the 2019 season are this week, tonight, with the Rookie of the Year announcement. Pete Alonso is in position to win this one with a landslide. Rookie of the Year, National League Rookie of the Year. The other finalists are Mike Soroka of the Atlanta Braves and Fernando Tatis Jr. of the San Diego Padres. Tatis probably would have given Alonso a bit more of a run for his money if he did not get hurt in August, but unfortunately he did. Alonso finished the year with a league-leading 53 homers, set the rookie home run record with 53. He had knocked in 120 RBIs, 103 runs scored, and a 260 batting average. Great year by him, and really makes the Mets be able to go out this offseason and have somebody like Dom Smith, who's backup to Pete Alonso, be very expendable, and we can trade him and get a significant piece back. If the Red Sox are looking to trade Mookie Betts, I think the Mets should be all in on that, even though it is the Mets, and I highly doubt that they will because they don't spend money, or if they do spend money, they don't really allocate it in the right spots. Yoenis Cespedes, Robinson Cano. Not saying I don't want them to sign Cespedes when they did, but the contract is not looking great. Now we're 3 years into it. Mets are getting some insurance money back on it, so hopefully maybe they'll take some of that insurance money and say that, hey, Cespedes' contract comes off the books next season. We're not going to be paying that too many players. Maybe we can add a guy like Mookie Betts for $30 million a year because, once this year's passed, and they're not going to be paying Cespedes $27 million this year anyways because he's not going to be playing the entire season if he plays at all. So should have money to spend. Whether they do that is to be determined. The idea of the Mets going into the season, and I've heard this, and this is not what you want to hear. The idea of the Mets going into the season with Edwin freaking Diaz as the closer is an absolute joke. That's unacceptable. They cannot They cannot go into this season selling the fan base on Edwin Diaz and Jerry Familia as the closer. And then what are they going to do? They're going to take they're going to let Wheeler walk because they don't want to pay him enough money. And you know what? If I were the Mets, I'd probably pay Zach Wheeler and trade Noah Syndergaard and get a haul if I could. That's just me. The Mets, they cannot sell the fan base on that. Now they're going to take. What I was going to say is they're going to take Seth Lugo out of the bullpen possibly and put him in the rotation to replace Wheeler. And what are they going to do that and then say, yeah, we're relying on Jerry Familia and Edwin Diaz to have bounce back years? Ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I think the Mets, they got to go out and they got to spend money on some decent relievers, not just one or two. They got to get like 3 or 4 to really remake the bullpen or maybe trade for one. I don't know when many available trade pieces at the moment, but trade would help if they could get a good reliever back in a trade. I think that would be helpful. I don't think Edwin Diaz is fixable. Carlos Beltran, it's nice for him to say that he can, just come in and he'll be fixed. It's great. Love to see it. But, Sonny Gray is a guy that he was pitcher for the Yankees, and he was absolutely terrible. He was originally a pitcher for the Athletics, and he was very good. The Yankees traded for him, and he was dreadful with the Yankees. And then they traded him to the Cincinnati Reds, and he was he was great again. Not everybody can pitch in New York and handle the pressures of New York, and I think that might be the case with Edwin Diaz. And if it is, which it really looked like it was the last season, he's not cut out to be closing major playoff games and major regular season games with, the season on the line. He completely him and Mickey Callaway single-handedly destroyed the 2019 season for the Mets. Edwin Diaz and the rest of the bullpen, terrible, aside from Justin Wilson and Seth Lugo. They were awful. And it needs to be fixed. We'll talk about that more in future episodes as we get deeper into the offseason and the hot stove begins to heat up. Hopefully it will not take 3 months for all these players to sign. Some of them didn't sign till March and late February last season. It was a bit ridiculous with Manny Machado and Bryce Harper. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Follow for more. James, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.